Available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at gpwlaw.com. Goldberg, Persky, and White. Working lawyers for working people.
Turn off your TV, turn on your mind, and turn up that radio. It's AM Beaver County on 95.7 FM, 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and 1460 WMBA.
And we're back on this Monday morning edition of AM Beaver County. And joining me now in studio is Kelly Cope from Patriot Home Care. Kelly, good morning to you.
Good morning, Matt.
So we're going to be talking today about, a few things, and one of them being something that we were talking about just before we came on air. Apparently, we've talked in the past about how Patriot Home Care, provides, services for clientele who look to have assisted independent living, and how caretakers, have a bit of a flexible schedule, and they have many different opportunities to, sort of improve themselves in a certain environment. But one thing we haven't talked about is what happens when somebody who's sort of already in the caretaker profession or the sort of assisted living profession, whether it's at a home or on remote locations like Patriot Home Care, how if they are in a company that isn't quite doing so hot, to put it mildly, that Patriot Home Care can help out with that transition process.
Yes, we can. Actually, there's always companies out there, including ours. I'm not saying we're perfect, but, some people have complaints, concerns, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's companies, that are struggling. Same with us. We're struggling for caregivers, clients, things like that. But if you're ever not happy with your current company, or if the company's going, for lack of a better word, south,
yeah,
we always take on those transfers. So if there's anyone out there that you're sitting there and you're like, I really, don't like the way things are going right now, or the caregiver's like, I really don't like, there's no benefits, no things like that with their company, they can reach out to us either by phone, on the website, or even email, and we can actually take those transfers over. Now, the caregivers will have to get hired on just like they did for the other, location.
right.
And then they can bring their clients with them. After we get the caregivers hired on, then we reach out and talk to the client and bring the client over so that they can still have their client with having us as their employer.
So just to clarify, if somebody is working with a client at another company and that they still want to maintain that relationship with the client, the caretaker with the client, they can bring all of that over.
Correct.
To Patriot Home Care.
Correct.
Okay. That's actually a pretty convenient situation, because, a lot of times whenever it just comes to, that level of transfer, especially in, a more established environment, like a nursing home, it's just a matter of a worker being there and then they leave and then somebody else comes and takes care. And while, that's sort of the name of the game, and, business being what it is, that there is that level of, disconnect between a client and the caretaker. And in this case, that doesn't have to be.
Correct. I had a thought in my mind and I just kind of lost it there for a second. They can come over with us. And right now, I know a lot of the agencies don't offer like the paid time off. They don't offer vacation. They don't offer 401k. They don't offer paid holidays. If you're working on a holiday, you actually get time and a half. So there are a lot of companies that don't offer that we offer. Plus, we are also offering almost all the time a $600 sign-on bonus. So that's actually pretty nice. Your first 3 checks that you work with us, you get an extra $200 your first 3 checks. So
yeah, that is a benefit. That is, anytime, because it's not easy these days. We see all the things about, things going up, whether it be gas or paying for a house or, car prices or food prices, whatever the case may be. We always hear about that kind of stuff. So, regardless of wherever somebody's at, whenever it comes to that particular thing on a broad spectrum, any little bit helps. And it's nice to know that Patriot Home Care is willing to help out with that little bit. And that also brings us to something else that we were talking about before, which is where all this sort of comes from, because unlike other places which may be privately owned or privately run or run by some sort of conglomerate, Patriot Home Care runs through the government in the state of Pennsylvania, or the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I should say.
Correct. And unfortunately, they only pay, and we're not the only agency out there. There's a lot of agencies that are paid by the state. And the state only pays us a certain amount per client. And it doesn't matter if they have minimal 10 hours, if they have round-the-clock care, if it's someone that just needs someone to be there with them and go places with them, or someone that is bedbound and needs more assistance. So we're kind of stuck, and a lot of these agencies are stuck paying their caregivers minimal to what they should be paid. And if the government doesn't pay us more, then we can't increase what we pay our caregivers. So I know that's a huge problem with some of the caregivers that come over. A lot of the caregivers that come over, it's not enough pay. They don't want, think they need more money, which I'll be the first to agree. I think nobody in healthcare gets paid enough. Plain and simple. I don't believe they do, because with everything they deal with, like COVID and things like that, they, you're putting your life on the line to go in and help these people. But it's worse for the home care agencies because we're paid by the government. And if they don't see what they need to do to help us, we can't help our caregivers. So anyone out there that, has a voice that wants to help us with this, I don't know, send it to Congress, send it to the president, send it to, our representative, whatever. They should be paying us more to help these people that actually need the help.
Right, because not only, and I tend to agree with what you're saying here, because not only is it a matter of dealing with all these different, possibilities, whether it be, what we went through with the pandemic, or what we went, or just general things like, flu season, or people get sick and everything, and all these things that may play a role in sort of putting a needle in the sort of the balloon of the relationship. But also, if you took all that away and everything was quote unquote fine, it's still a matter of these caretakers going in and basically dedicating their lives to make sure that these other people, these clients, live their lives on a well-rounded basis. And that alone seems to be worth the help out from the government.
I also believe, too, that if we could get paid more to pay our caregivers, it might help the morale of the caregivers wanting to go in there and actually help someone and take care of them. Unfortunately, money is, the root of all evil. But, when someone's only getting paid a certain amount, and they're going in and they're putting their lives, taking care of someone like they would take care of themselves, they want to feel appreciated. And as a manager at the agency, I can only do so much. I mean, I make sure that my caregivers and my clients both get a card at their, birthdays. I have a girl that is on top of it. At the beginning of every month, she sends out birthday cards to our caregivers and clients. I make sure every couple months we send, hey, how you doing? Something like that. This coming Wednesday, we're doing a caregiver client appreciation at the office down here in Beaver Falls, which I'll tell you all about that later.
Sure.
So I try to make everybody feel special, but in the long run, if you're only getting paid pennies to do it,
right.
Me saying all the appreciation can only go so far.
Understandable, and that's why there does have to be that level of and I think too, even though I know the word government sort of has this big bad umbrella over that, and some of it's kind of deserved, but at the same time, if they are willing to say, hey, we're willing to help you out, that itself could be a morale booster as well, to know that these people who are, gathered to, run a certain area of the state, whether it be Beaver County or elsewhere, that they got your back. And that alone, mixed with a financial we got your back, does create for that morale boost. But I understand that's not the easiest situation to be dealing with right now. It probably, isn't going to be, overnight, turning back.
Definitely not. But we can't do it ourselves though either. I mean, we can't sit here as agencies and, say, hey, you need to pay us more, so we can pay these caregivers. I mean, that just only goes so far as well. So if the, clients have family or the caregivers, need to use your voice as well just to get it out there so that they know, hey, this is a problem out here, along with other multiple problems that, are going on. I get it, but you're still dealing with a person's life.
Yes. And furthermore, a lot of times, people say, oh, it's a handout, but it's not necessarily the case at all, because again, it's not just a matter of what it is that Patriot Home Care does as a home care agency, but it's a matter of, providing that level of, caretaking and dealing with the independent living that provides Patriot Home Care sort of the understanding that, this is what we do and we do it very well. We do this to the best of our abilities. We do this in order to make sure that our clients have the best lives. And if that isn't recognized, then I mean, I understand the struggle, but that itself, it should be the reason for the government to support you guys in what it is that you're doing.
I'm totally on board with you. Our business today is just so underappreciated.
Yeah.
So because we are taking care of people. I mean, imagine, I don't know your situation, but if it was your mom, you want somebody out there that's going to take care of her, that's going to come in and appreciate her and, not treat her like an animal to where, you sit her in a corner and don't do anything.
Right.
You want someone that's going to come in with compassion and heart and, ability to make your mom laugh, do things with her, make her, get more out of her life than maybe the next 2 years that she might have or something. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Exactly.
And for anybody to do that, I mean, somebody with a heart and compassion, like we do have those caregivers, they're fine making what they're making. They just love their job. But there are some that, they do it, but they want to feel more appreciated. And like I said, I can only do so much with appreciation. We got to be able to pay them more and give bonuses, which the company does do. I love my company because, it's the first job I've ever had that I really like to go to work. But they can only do so much as well.
Yeah.
We're kind of stuck.
And that too is, it's not a guarantee, but at the same time, the effort that is put out in light of that is, again, something to be commended. If somebody is listening and they want to be part of this, where they feel that they, could use a little assistance in their lives, or they want to be the assister, how can they reach Patriot Home Care?
Well, you can reach us down here locally at the Beaver Falls office. Our address is 1225 7th Avenue, Beaver Falls, PA 15010. You can call the office directly at 724-506-8911. You can email me directly if you would prefer, if you want more one-on-one, to start out with. My email address is kcope@patriot-hc.com. And you can also go to the website, which is patriothomecare.org.
I'll have all the links to that coming up later this morning at beavercountyradio.com. So it's been a bit of, I don't want to say there's been a gloomier conversation we had today, but there are those realities that we have to talk about from time to time. But you did mention one thing in there. That's
food.
Well, I don't think you mentioned that part per se, but it's a good thing you mentioned that now. But you mentioned an event that's going to be coming up soon in regards to some of the things we were talking about earlier.
Yes, actually this Wednesday, 2 days from now, which would be the 13th?
13th, yes.
Okay. At the office, right outside and inside, we're going to have tables set up. We're going to do a cookout. It's going to be hot dogs, little bags of chips. We'll have cookies. You'll be able to come in and sit and talk with us, ask us any type of questions. The client, if you're a client or have a family member that's interested, you can always come down and talk to all of us. There's 5 of us in the office, so we'll be able to, talk to multiple people at one time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's right at the office. It'll be from actually 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I mean, I know nobody really wants a hot dog at 9 a.m., but you can come and grab a cookie. We'll have coffee, water, just we want to get to know the community. We want the community to know that we're out there, and we're here to help.
Right, exactly, and that's that shouldn't be taken for granted either. Not just because it takes time to put all those hot dogs together and make sure that they are.
Yeah, we'll be wrapping Tuesday night.
Yeah. But also, again, to showcase that there's that level of compassion, that there is that level of understanding, that you can showcase, hey, this is what we do, and this is the kind of attitude that we bring to it. Because once you establish that, then it's not too far away from saying, hey, here we are presenting ourselves with all these different facets of assisted independent living, and making sure that our clients have the best types of lives lived, and that our caretakers also have the best when it comes to their duties on an everyday basis.
Correct.
So again, that's coming up Wednesday from 9 until 5. And I'm assuming you're going to be down there for the endurance of that.
Yes, the entire day. Myself, I'll definitely be there. As far as I know, nobody has vacation day that day, so all the girls in the office should be there. We can answer questions, even if you just want to stop and say, hey, see who we are, get to meet us, for a friendly face.
Yeah.
We can do that as well.
That's going to be cool. That's going to be cool because, again, it's just a nice thing to see just any business, sort of, promote themselves and say, hey, this is what we're doing, and we're going to help you guys out in the way that you need to. So again, that's coming up, and we'll have details about that at beavercountyradio.com later on this morning too. Is there anything we haven't talked about that I should have brought up at this point?
No, and like you said, I'm sorry it was kind of like a gloomy part of it.
That's
a little
okay.
bit, but everybody needs to know that part of it too. We're definitely not perfect. We try not to act like we are, but we try our best, to make it as good as we can for everybody. Right.
And, if nothing else, honesty is always the best policy. So to just put it out there and say, listen, this is how things are. If you sort of hide that away, that, sort of creates a little bit of an invisible base to sort of build upon. It's just going to fall over.
And people can't trust us if we're doing that.
Exactly. And if there's anything that Patriot Home Care is capable of, it's putting trust not just in clients and caretakers, but everybody involved. So, Kelly, thank you so much for joining me today and talking about that. And have fun on Wednesday.
Well, don't forget, you do get a lunch break, so you have to come down and get a free hot dog.
You know what? Now that you mentioned that, I think I have to. Just a walk down the block to get that. So, yeah,
Yes,
I'll have to stop by and say hi. So, thanks, Kelly. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're listening to AM Beaver County. After the news, Teleforum will be starting on a Monday morning here on Beaver County Radio. Your community, your radio stations, originating from the St. Barnabas Control Studio in Beaver County. 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls